Radha Krishna Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Hare Hare, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gururanga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gururanga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gururanga, Jaya 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gopala Govinda. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gopala Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hari Bol Krishna, Hari Bol Krishna, Gopala Govinda Rama, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hari Bol Krishna, Hari Bol Krishna, Gopala Govinda Rama, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Haribol Namaste. Good morning, everyone. So let's continue our study program so we can be very focused and have a clear understanding of what we're doing. And in this case, it's about knowing, serving, and loving God and doing what is pleasing to Him. The science of pure devotional service under the guidance of Parampara or the saintly person, our Gurudev, our initiating spiritual master, our instructing spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. So I'd like to give you a story, a real story, not just a recall of what happened years back. To recap something, to have a reminder of what we have been discussing this week. I like to reiterate again salvation and pure devotional service. Salvation is about becoming liberated and becoming free, to be saved from the suffering, to have a relief, to be relieved from our experience of pain in this world. So many pains, sadness, emptiness of the heart, birth, death, disease, and old age, troublesome relationship with everybody else, and it's like a burning forest that drives a person crazy. And we want relief. And we want salvation. Because that's what has been taught to us. That's what has been projected to us. That to be saved from all of this is to be following the teachings of salvation, which is not the teachings of Lord Jesus Christ, but rather the teachings of Lord Jesus Christ is pure love of God. Unconditional love, meaning service as the end itself, because it is related and absolutely in harmony with our true nature. By nature, we are active, and we are eternal, transcendental, and what is inseparable from us is our activities. We are always active. So now, where should we be active? Where should we direct our focus in our direction with our activities? So, guided by the science of the pure devotional service, we can now understand that salvation is a lower relationship with God. It's not pure, unconditional, loving relationship with God. So, if we want to have an intimate, very close relationship with God, we must follow the science that is being taught by the pure lover of God, the confidential, loving servant of God, who is in a world of pure devotional service. So we can be in harmony with that world. So many of us comes here. For example, a person drowning, he wants air. So when we want relief from all this pain in this world, you come in contact with the spiritual master. But coming in contact with the spiritual master means an experience of activities that he gives us. So while we are in this world, due to the contamination that has covered the soul, we are very attracted to salvation. So we want something. We want something. And the reason we can see how we have become contaminated is because of those activities we have done in the past and ongoing activities that is being motivated by the mind And through false bodily identification and not knowing where to find happiness, our direction is simply trying to get something. And in our case, all of us, we want to get something. Because if we follow the mind, you can see and analyze and see that it's always about getting something. So we look at this world to get something. We look at everybody else, we want something. Supposedly the love we want to give and share, we want something back. That's natural. But it is due to the experience we had in the past and we're engaging now. So now if we want to become free from this world of the direction that is being directed by the mind that gives us pain in our heart and in an illusion of wanting to get something, especially material things. And we want that the avenue for, or the road, or the path we follow is to be able to become free from suffering by getting all these things. So now we come in contact with the spiritual master, the devotee of God. But we must be clearly seeing the life of the devotee. Through the process he gives us, we become purified. And we can begin to see his work, his intent. Because being a teacher, by example, he's not inactive. Just like the living entity, all of us, we're active by nature. But now the focus of our activities is directed upon getting something. We have been contaminated by material consideration because we have not experienced in our life this pure transcendental connection of our true eternal nature. So he gives us a process. So many of you come here, especially people who have been attracted to the chanting and have been brought up in a way to just go to a place, and even though they chant, it's all about wanting to get something, to be saved, to be purified. So when you come in contact with the program of the spiritual master, you can see how the spiritual master follows and do what is to be done in his relationship with his spiritual master. He works, he engages in activities. So it means he uses his body. Because we have this perverted way of imagining what is pure, we're thinking we just chant there and not experience the pain and be like a pause, sitting down there, chanting, joining the group, trying to squeeze what is purity, what is happiness. But when we come in contact with the programs of the spiritual master, you see they work day out, day in. And then, because we have this world wherein we want something, we are not in a stage of service as the end itself. So when we use this body, this material body that we have, to do work in the service of the spiritual master, what happens is that it gives us, it's hard work. How come I am not experiencing happiness? We wake up in the morning, we work, we offer, we use our body. Wake up in the morning, the mind doesn't want you to stand up with your body and use it. Clean out. Tell, wait a minute, you can still relax. But the process that is given to us, the work we do, will be, if it's in connection with our service to do what is pleasing to God, we will be directed by another energy that is transcendental. It is loving service to the Supreme Person, that for so long we have been serving the mind, and the attitude is, I want something. I want a niche in this in this world. But how come I'm not getting it? I work hard, wake up in the morning. It's like this. When a person is diseased, he's so sick, for example, I'll just narrate something that we can relate to, COVID-19. The effect is you have high fever, about 42, your throat, you're coughing, full of phlegm, you can hardly smell anything. You don't have taste for eating. And when you taste food, there's no taste. But if you follow the medication or the medicine or what you call vaccine, to have a strong immune system, the virus only lasts for 7 days because it's not living. So it does not really put the body down. But you take this medicine, even though you don't have you don't have taste, you eat. You rest, you have high fever, you drink medicine, you take something that will help you have a strong immune system. And first day, second day, third day, then the virus, dies on its natural state. Then you get well. But you follow a process. So for so long, we've been servant of the mind. And if you do something in the service of Krsna, because the mind has become your master or illusion, because of our contamination of the false ego, of trying to be Lord, it is all about taking something. And then when we engage in activities that is giving, it gives us pain. What is that giving? I use this body to work. No? It's hard work. What do I get from it? I wake up in the morning. The mind will tell, do I stand up? It's so cold now. September, October, November. Just wait for at least a minute, then you stand up and you attend the program. Not seeing that the process, it itself, the purifying process of rendering devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, that it purifies us, and we now have one person to follow the will of God and under the direction of the spiritual master. Previously, we followed the mind. And what is in the mind? The desires of an imagination, anticipation of the fruits of happiness. Have you ever did something before thinking that I will suffer or I will die? No. It's always a promise by the mind. And for so long, we have been identifying with the mind, we've been identifying with the body, and when we come in contact with the science of devotional service, the first foundation is understanding our true nature. And not only understanding I am spirit soul, we begin now to engage in those activities that forces the body in the beginning which we have been identifying that when we try to find happiness, it's just spontaneous. The mind tells you, eat, smoke, drink, marry someone, get something. It's spontaneous. But when you engage in the process of devotional service and follow the purificatory process of chanting the holy names, you begin to become the witness that you are the person in this body, controlling the body, directing the body. And now, for so long, you have become servant of the body. And through this, to those activities you did, and now you're engaging in activities wherein you use the body. Previously, matter, the body is your master. The senses are your master. The mind is your master. Illusion is your master. And you're drawn into oblivion, eternally suffering, birth, death, disease, and knowledge. Because the direction we're focusing is not in harmony with our true nature. So the process that we follow, in the beginning, it's painful. Material life, it is sweet in the beginning, but it's bitter in the end. So when a person is sick, he goes to the doctor, and the doctor gives him medication. And in the beginning, it's bitter, I have no taste. But when you get well, you have this natural taste now to smell, to taste. So when the person comes to the point of realizing actual understanding his true nature as spirit soul, so he can see now the real happiness that I'm seeking, fulfillment, is in connection with life, with the source of life, with the supreme person who can address this longing for fulfillment, this joy and happiness, life for life. Previously, it's serving matter, identification with the body, life, trying to find happiness in dead matter, this shitty world. So being a different element from matter, now I have this opportunity to be in harmony with the source of happiness and joy. And it is under the guidance of someone who is in that world of transcendence, meaning he himself is teacher by example. He does not just blabber everybody, okay, serve God, serve God. No, it is his life, 100%. That's why the body of the devotee or the spiritual master is completely 100% transcendental, because it is being harnessed and used in the service of God, in the world that is pleasing, that will be a connection of love in loving reciprocation with God. So that is the science we have come in. So most of you come here, people from different organizations, different pain, you come to Madana Mohana Academy. In the beginning, yes, we talk to you. Oh, how are you? How are you? But you must understand that everybody here, all of us, have work to do in the service of our spiritual master in Krsna. We will do the work to please God. So you come, and after a while, nobody talks to you. Why? Because everybody is busy serving, trying to perfect their relationship in the service of Krishna. They have no time for you. So I'll give you this story that I experienced and how we can be guided. One time, my spiritual master came to the Philippines. Naturally, the devotees are very happy. The disciples are very happy because they can render personal service to the spiritual master in any capacity. Some goes to the market, some cook, some serves the food that is offered, that is being cooked, that was cooked and now being offered to the spiritual master. So he has this energy to use his body to talk about the science that can help us. So it means he comes here previously to help us how to organize and to give God to people. So it takes so much energy and willpower. So he needs food to have upkeep, to maintain his body. So we're given this opportunity to take care of the bodily needs of the spiritual master. But for so long, we want something. So we bring that in relationship with God. So one time, one of my God brothers comes. My spiritual master is very busy serving, doing his work. His work is, I'll give you what we have discussed before. There will be no one dearer to me, said Lord Krishna, than someone who's speaking my glories. Saints are my heart, and I am their heart. Their life and thoughts are always of me. They are very dear to me. So that is the bona fide spiritual master. That is a lover of God. And all of you here can be, all of us can be in that stage when we have achieved perfection. What is perfection? Perfection is not what we imagine as pure, as impersonal, to be in a situation not experiencing pain while we are in this body. Because in that stage of understanding our true identity, we can see now, yes, I can use this body to please God. So in this case, my spiritual master is speaking the glories of Lord Krishna and also doing the desire of his Gurudev to assist his spiritual master to help us, to share the love of Krishna to us, to protect us. So the devotee comes and bringing the food. My spiritual master is sitting there talking to people. He puts the food there, he goes, he puts the tray there. And my spiritual master was discussing very serious program because the spiritual master takes every moment of the time that is allotted to him to help, to give, to teach individuals, to pass on the science where they can be connected in pure transcendental love with the Supreme Person. So time is very precious. So the spiritual master was given this tray of food. And while he's talking, then he noticed someone still, who opened the door, still there, standing, looking at the spiritual master. And when he looked, he has to stop talking to people whom he's trying to give guidance how they can perfect, how can they serve Krishna, to help more living entities who are in this whirlpool of the jungle of, or the ocean of misery, to save them. And then he has to stop and tell, thank you. So the attitude now of that person, wow, the spiritual master thanked me. I have something. But he has to stop talking to people. The time, even for a minute, that is very precious. He has to stop to relate to that person. And what is the attitude of the person? I have something. My spiritual master acknowledged me and thanked me. Pure loving service is the end itself. The chanting of the holy names, the perfection, the chanting is the beginning. Because we are able to receive and the embrace of God in our heart, the source of happiness. And then when we become purified, we now engage in those activities that is in harmony with our true eternal nature as eternally the loving servant of God. So service means the end itself. It is not something that we imagine that we will be happy, but rather we will be put in our natural situation, just like a fish out of water, he goes to the water. He's put back to the water. So we should see in ourselves what stops us from tasting that pure devotional service. that service is the end itself, that giving everything, that is temporary in my possession. But the mind will tell, what foundation will you have? You're gonna give everything? But look at the attitude of Bali Maharaj. When Lord Krishna, as a young Brahmana comes, tells him, I want just, because it's natural when a holy person comes to your place, or not even a stranger, you give a glass of water. So this Brahmana, his Sukra Acharya, the spiritual master of the demons, tells Bali Maharaj, watch out. If you follow his bidding, then you lose everything. You know the attitude of Bali Maharaj? Why worry? Everything that I have in possession will definitely and inevitably will be taken away from me. What's the big deal? So now you ask yourself, why are you so worried that if you use this body in the service of God, your happiness will be taken away? Not only that, when we become purified, our relationship with the Supreme Person becomes in harmony, in purity. And what is that? I'll tell you something that is guided by Scripture. Everything animate in the Upanishad, everything animate or inanimate, living or non-living, that is in this universe belongs to the Supreme Person. Knowing well to whom they belong, one should only use the quota that is allotted to him. How can you use the quota that is allotted to you when your attitude is you're in this impure condition, thinking you're master, and your focus now is getting something? So when you come in contact with the science of pure devotional service, it is giving back everything to the Lord. Just like I'm walking, I saw a wallet. Wow, wallet. I open it. There's money, but there's an ID. Who owns it? So an honest person will see, oh, an ID. Who owns it? He stays in. He has email. I'll email him. Oh, he's in the boondocks. There's radio station. I go to the radio station and tell, no, I found a wallet with a lot of money in, a lot of papers. Please announce who owns this. But the person who is polluted, he sees, wow, money, I can use this. He keeps it. We come to this world with nothing. We leave this world with nothing. Everything belongs to our friend, to our eternal Father. And He gives us allotment for the maintenance of this body. But we cannot appreciate that the air we breathe, the light that gives us clarity to see with our eyes, the food that we eat that comes from the rain, from the farmers, from everybody else. We are not appreciative of that. God has already given everything for us, for the upkeep of this body. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna chant, don't work. No. We must become responsible for the upkeep of this body, because while in this body, we have decided, the reason we have this body is because Krishna loves us so much. You want to imitate me? Okay, I'll put you in a world where you can be Lord. But there's a catch. The teachings of Christianity, as you sow, so you shall reap. Meaning, you are responsible for your action. Previously, when we are in harmony with pure devotional service, because we have this freedom to serve, we have freedom of choice that is not taken away from us, we have misused it. Some or other, we don't know the reason we are here. But we can go back to that world when we become purified from this misgiving that has encumbered us, false bodily identification or material disease, and the false ego of trying to play lordship. So when we chant, the process itself, in the beginning, it's painful. But if you look closely, you have been servant of the body and the mind for so long. So in the morning, there's a process we do. You have to wake up and see and bow down and offer something to God. But the mind will tell you, no way, kid. And the body said, oh, it's so painful. I've been working the whole night, texting, Facebook. Tomorrow na lang. The mind drags you. But if you follow it, who cares about you? I'll just do this. Then you become the master of your destiny because you are not anymore the servant of your mind and material energy and the influence of the three modes of material nature, guided now by the process of devotional service. It begins with hearing, chanting, remembering, praying. So now you use this body that has been your doom for so long, that has been your cell, that has been an imprisonment for you. Now you can see now, I can use this body to be with God while I am in this world. So the kingdom of God that everybody wants to enter will be your life in your situation, all of us, while we are in this body. Because we use this body that belongs to God in His service to the owner. Because this body that we have is a great opportunity. This human form of life, the suffering that we see here, is a learning process that we are not in this environment that is transcendental to our true nature. We have identified with the suffering. We have identified with the body. How can you get out from suffering when the work we do is connected with the world of suffering? So now we engage in those activities that will free us and connect us with pure devotional service. Connect us with life. Connect us with love. You sacrifice so much when you want to get something in this world. For example, you want a boyfriend, a girlfriend. Diba? You want a wife, you want a husband. You come to the school, you see, wow, beautiful girls. The boys say, wow, beautiful, what will I do? I have this money, I'm gonna buy, But because of the technology now, I'll just send text, flowers, chocolates, Play mind game, Talk something, sweet honey, something, nothing. Just to get something. So the science we follow is the science of clarity, is the science of wisdom, is the science of knowledge that will free us and connect us with love for God. Because the teacher whom we follow is a bona fide teacher who teaches by example. So we can see now the difference between salvation and pure love of God. Salvation, how do they guide you in salvation? You have engaged in so many simple activities. And they threaten you. If you don't join us, you won't be saved. So there's fear in your heart. I'm going to suffer. But if you can understand, you'll be in a world of harmony. The first understanding of your true nature will be the foundation. For example, the description of the soul can never be burned. So everybody so afraid to be burned in hell. Because you're thinking you're the body. The living entity cannot be withered by the wind. Meaning, you can never experience this. You will be greater than Bruce Lee, all these great, powerful, so-called projected X-Men, Batman, because you know that you can never be burned by fire. You can never be withered by the wind. You can never be moistened by water. You are eternal, and even at the death of this body, you will exist. The problem is, what kind of existence will we experience when we are not in harmony with that pure love of God that is being taught by our dear spiritual master, by God Himself? So that's a choice you can make. So think about it. And if you have this problem you're facing, it's not a dead end, because that path that we've been doing for so long is a path of oblivion. It's like a deep abyss that has no end. There's no period. It's always comma and question mark. So it's up to you to make the choice. And whom will you follow? There's so many so-called teachers, so-called spiritual teachers, so many organizations, but can it really address your true eternal nature? Your love, your heart, your whole being? Then, if you want to be in that world, follow this path, learn this path, engage in those activities that will purify your heart, and you'll be in a world of real transcendental happiness. Haribol Namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Hare Krishna Pastimes. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Hare Krishna Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Sarva Bhattacharya. Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gaurakaruna Sarupaya, Hare Krishna Prestaya Te. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gaurakaruna Sarupaya, Hare Krishna Prestaya Te. Namaste.